Hey, flooring pros. I'm Jerry Levinson, and this is the Flooring Business Podcast, where we talk to expert flooring dealers, suppliers, marketing experts, and software experts, and anyone who I believe is going to help you in your flooring business. Now, my mission is to give you good information that'll help you reach your goals. If you're just starting your business, or you're trying to reach $5 million in sales, or you're getting ready to sell your business, you're going to find useful information that'll help you reach your goals and profit now in the flooring industry. The Flooring Business Podcast is brought to you by Ring Ring Marketing. Go to ringringmarketing.com and request a free analysis of your website, your area, and your scope of work. They'll make recommendations on how to best strategize your marketing efforts so you get the best return on your investment. You'll even get a coach that helps you get better results. All right, my volume's up really high. Okay, I can hear myself very well. All right. Okay, well, this week I have a client of mine actually from Florida. It's Adrian Blanco from Brevard Tile. And on the beginning, it said Adrian and Kayla. I thought, oh, your wife's going to be there too, right?
No, it's just me. I have the name edited wrong. It's just me. My wife's not here. She's too camera shy.
Well, we got a lot to go over because we've been working together for about a year now?
Yeah, it's been actually a little bit more than a year. But I've been watching your videos for a little bit longer than a year
Yeah.
prior to moving forward with you.
What made you decide to just make the call even?
Well, the biggest thing was, being a young guy in the construction industry, I knew that I wanted to kind of not just do installation forever. So the biggest thing for me was when I first called you, and I'm sure you can recall to that, was my big goal was I want to open up a showroom. I want to sell more material. I don't want to just have customers that are just calling me just for installation. So, and that's when I hopped on the free call with you, and you just off of that free call, right off the bat, I was like, let's move forward because just the amount of information you gave off that call. And so that was the big thing because I knew I wanted to move, out of, installation and, more into sales. And even though I still do a lot of installation, but I like selling the material a lot better than just doing the installation. So now, thanks to you, I have a showroom now and doing pretty well this year.
It's one of my favorite clients. Really is the guy that transitions from installer to retailer because it's such a dramatic shift in
Yep.
your thinking and what you do. And when you're installer, you're focused on doing the job right.
Yep.
But when you're a retailer, you got to focus on getting the job. You got to focus on marketing and getting customers. And then how do you get the job? How much do you charge? Which is dramatically higher than what you're charging as an installer, right?
Yep.
When you were an installer, were you working directly for customers or were you working for showrooms and retailers?
So I did not work for any showrooms. There was one company that I did do a lot of work for. They didn't offer installation, and they have a really large showroom. So I kind of utilized them to sell their products, and they would give me a kickback for whatever I sold there. But most of my customers' interaction was them calling me saying, "Hey, I got this product I got from Home Depot, and I need it installed." So that was my good almost 90% of my work because even though I try to carry some samples at my shop and take it to the customer and kind of do that shop at home, I didn't notice it being like that effective. I mean, it did work, if I landed a few jobs selling the material at the customer's house, but it's just the experience wasn't really there for the customer because that's why I really like having the showroom now. But the biggest thing was, customers calling me, they have a product, and then I just went and installed it.
Was your feeling ever that in order to get business, I'm going to have to be cheap? I'm going to have to be cheaper than other companies and other people.
Definitely. I mean, I think that was probably the biggest mistake I made off the bat, and where you switched my thinking right over. And I think, I think we all fall full to it
Yeah.
because we think, hey, I need to charge cheaper because, Joe across the street is charging this much, so I'm going to charge this much so I can land the job. But it's not so much that how it works. And one of the things that videos that you mentioned is the Payless shoe store, when they set up the whole Payless shoe store and they have a nice
Yeah.
store, and then they made it look like a high-end luxury brand.
Right.
And it's really you really showed that presentation, and the way you show it to the customer is more important.
Yeah, isn't that amazing that a shoe that sells for, 19, $20, they were selling it for $600-$700.
And
Same
people
exact
were
shoe.
buying it.
And the way that they presented it was this was high-end fashion, and they got people from the fashion world. So all these snooty people were going, oh yeah, I can see why this design is really good. So you put them in that environment and basically manipulated their thinking. And we do just the opposite. We manipulate the thinking to customers. When what we do is a big deal, we make it like it's not a big deal and anybody can do it.
Yeah.
You know, and
I'm in the tile industry, and a lot of this conversations me and you had, you were like constantly like, man, I can't believe you don't like market that or emphasize that, because there's a lot of little details in the installation process and a lot of stuff we do different to ensure the customer's product is finished. But me being in the industry, I overpass all that. I find it to be very simple, like, or something that doesn't stand out. But you helped me to pinpoint those stuff, like, hey, especially like the grout, mentioned there that you're going to be using a high end, the special grout. Those stuff I overlooked them because it was just standard to me.
it's kind of a trap. And I fell into it myself. And I realized it when I was listening to politics. Is I'd be listening to Rush Limbaugh's show back in the day and listening to him for several years. And the information was so clear that I started believing everybody knew what I knew, because I'm not that smart. So everybody must know what I know. And I see guys that have been doing this for years, doing flooring for years, fall into that trap where you just have this belief, well, I'm not that smart. The customer's wealthy, more intelligent, college graduate, probably smarter than I am. So, what am I explaining this to him for? He knows, and they don't.
Yeah, no,
They get what
that's
that process is, and their belief, if you allow them to believe it, is that anybody can do it.
well, and that's the thing too. And then I find that it's important to kind of educate the customer on certain things. I mean, I always like to look at it like kind of like if you're trying to sell a flight to Hawaii, you could talk about all the little detail stuff, but you don't want to emphasize Hawaii, not just the flight. But there's a lot of stuff like in the process where I was just neglecting it. But if you help them appreciate, kind of make them excited about what the bathroom is going to look like, and or for their floor, how it's going to look like, and kind of paint that picture to them, and then highlight those little things that for a person like me, that I would always look past it. That really helps the customer to kind of want to move forward with you, because the next person who comes in is just gonna completely pass that, and I see it constantly.
So we're getting a little bit ahead of the movie. We're going to talk about how you almost doubled your price with showers and
Yeah,
increased your closing rate to damn near 100%.
yeah.
So, but first, I want to start out. What just got you in the business in the first place? What got you started in flooring?
So we're a family-owned business. So we're third generation. So my grandpa, he's my all my family's from Cuba. So my family came to the United States, that was the first trade they picked up, was tile. So then they stuck it through and did it. And I was young and I got into it. At first, I was not a huge fan of it because it's labor intensive work. But as you start getting more into the business, you start appreciating certain stuff, especially when customers are happy and you have good experience. So
You enjoy the craft, right? I mean,
yeah, you start enjoying it, and that's what technically got me into it. And then how I was always part of the installation side of it, and that's kind of where I want to change how this generation does. I want to start offering the showroom and start getting into the sale part of it more. instead
But
of
even
just,
you were talking about family. Your father still does installations, doesn't he?
yeah, he still does.
Yeah. And then your mother and you guys came from Cuba.
Yeah, so I was born here, but all my family was born in Cuba.
And I know that the culture is very important to you and the heritage. So you put your mom in a sweatshop in your showroom, right? She's out in the garage with there's no air conditioning, right? So she
No,
just feels like she's
no,
at home, right?
no,
I went
no,
I went to his
that was
showroom and his my oh my god, the humidity in Florida, it was awful when we
that was
visited
so
it,
funny.
but she comes out of the garage or out of the
The warehouse.
house, and that's where she works, but she loves it. I was
No,
making fun of him because it's like, man, you put your mother out in the warehouse,
no,
dude.
she doesn't. She doesn't. She was just getting some orders ready, but no, she works in the office.
But she likes it out there. She works out. She says she enjoys it out there. She likes getting
Yeah,
out
she
there,
doesn't
putting
mind.
stuff
So like
together.
she goes out there and she's there with the warehouse guy, getting the houses ready, getting orders ready for the following day for the delivery guy. So she doesn't
Adrian's
mind.
inside with his feet on a desk, drinking a pina colada that his mother made for him with a fan on him and air conditioning. Why his wife fans him off too, and nice,
Yeah,
cool, and comfortable. So, he's got
yeah.
it going for him there.
That's so funny. As soon as you came in, she was like she was completely thrown off, like because I told her you were getting there, but she had a few stuff to do and she got tied up. She was like, all embarrassed. She's like, oh man, like look at me, I look like a warehouse worker. And
That was fun meeting you guys. That was a fun trip. That was
yeah,
great.
but we all wear multiple hats, being part of a family business. We don't have shame in having to do certain things.
I had somebody on behalf of an employee said, "Hey, don't you think this person should get paid more because they're driving the forklift, they're loading up installers, they're the salesperson, they're doing da 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 da." And I'm like, that's the way it is in a small business. Until you
Yeah,
grow it, you do what needs to get done.
yeah,
And
yeah.
nobody's measuring what everybody's doing and trying to make the pay exact and fair based on this isn't a union. We're a small family business.
Exactly. No, that's a crucial point because especially when you hire new people, I think that's an important thing to let them know. This is a small business, and you need to, get in the warehouse and move something or something to help us out. You know, we got to do it.
So it's kind of a charming story, actually, though, that your mother was ready to retire and you asked her to come in. And it's like, hey, you helped out my older brothers. Come help me out here with this business, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So but I have two older brothers, but they're not in the flooring industry. They're still in construction, but they're not in the tile and flooring industry. I'm the one who continued it, or is continuing it.
But you have this family of entrepreneurship that,
Yeah. All my brothers own. They both own an HVAC business between them. So we're all in the construction
yeah,
uh, business.
yeah. And, but your father's still installing, right?
Yeah, so my dad, he's always out in the field. I mean, he had a back injury not too long ago, so he's not doing as much of the physical labor. But if there's a backslash to do, he still does it. He likes being out on the field. Being hands on with the projects. If a guy's starting a job, he likes to be out there. Helping the guys out if they have questions. The guys call him for advice for something a little bit more complex. He comes out there, helps them. So he jumps around, and if he likes to kind of be all over the place. He likes
There's
to be
this
involved.
amazing older generation that's just a workhorse that can do things that we can't imagine doing by the time we're 45 and 50. And my
Yeah,
dad, he still does upholstery and he's like 80, but
yeah, that's good. I mean, that's what keeps people going.
yeah, it really does. So did you work alongside with your dad doing the installation?
Yeah. Yeah, when I was younger, yeah. So that's kind of where I got the wanting to continue into the industry. So I did work with him alongside doing installation work, but shortly after working with him, I was like, that's when I called you because being in the industry right now, I'm 24, so it hasn't been that long since I been doing installation with my father. But I knew right off the bat, I was like, for me to learn the business and to do that, I'm gonna have to start now because there's a lot of little things that I don't even know when it comes to the retail side. So
Well, I
that's
mean,
why I kind of
in the flooring world, tile is the most complicated by far, I
yeah.
would say.
And
To
that's what I did mostly.
do a
I
good job
never
on.
really, yeah, I never really did anything else other than tile. I've only done a handful of laminate and hardwood floors, and carpet. I've never touched, really did carpet. Mostly everything I did is tile and bathroom work.
The company's Brevard Tile. And
Correct.
who made your website? It was a family member.
Yeah, family and member of mine.
So and we just made a couple tweaks and changes that worked pretty good.
Yeah, it worked really well. Yeah, one of the biggest things, because when you saw it, I mean, the appeal of it was there, the way it looked, because she's a graphic designer.
Actually, it was very rich looking, and it's something to see professional websites done. Well, and she's a professional. I shouldn't say that, but she is good at what she does. She's a graphic designer. The color scheme was
Yeah,
this is a quality company. You knew that just by the colors and the fonts that she was using in there.
yeah. But the biggest problem I had was, like you mentioned, was a lot of the stuff on my website didn't hit people right between the eyes. There was, things that when you would click on, for example, tile or flooring, I would just have a ton of words there, explaining us about the business and everything. But it didn't like have, the three-step process, and then you can click here to ask for a quote because it's true. Most people who are going on there, they're not reading every word. They just want to kind of have an idea of what's going on. And then one thing that I'm adding to the website that I like a lot too is maybe having some, Google reviews there from customers on each landing page. And one thing that I didn't really want to do, but I was like, all right, Jerry says I have to do it. I'm gonna have to do it. Was put a picture of me on the main homepage, so when people click it, they know they can associate a face with the company.
Yeah, there's a couple websites now that I keep showing you guys. That Echo Flooring does a great job on their website, and they have that. Get Floored in South Carolina. Floors app put together a website for them that looks fantastic.
Yeah,
So went with Floors app on the website, and then Ring for the marketing to really expand it and blow it up on the SEO and pay per click side. But uh, I'm enjoying as I'm growing this brand. I'm getting partners like this that are really
yeah,
good. Like, Floors app knows the kind of website that I want to see that I think that you should have, which is, your photo or a family photo. Your address should be a clickable link, and it is, and a really easy call to action or to sign up for an in-home estimate. Just
yeah.
should be stupid simple for somebody to go in there and see what they're looking for. And then one
Yeah.
thing that we're really expanding on is adding pricing to the website, which is something I keep pushing. That
Yeah.
it just
And
seems like the more that you give that information out, the quicker customers are to go with you and set an appointment and maybe not even get other appointments.
yeah, if I had to give a big recommendation to any flooring dealer around the United States, is pricing and showing it up front has been a huge game changer for me because now with customers seeing the pricing on my website, it kind of gives customer not it's because most people are going to think, oh, it weeds the customer away. If anything, it weeds them in the right direction because you don't want customers to feel like, oh, they have to call you and then try to figure out a price. And then, after you say the price, some people might feel kind of, timid to like, do I just hang up or is this, they're not sure and they just think, okay, this is a high price. But when you show the price and you kind of give a brief description and you put a call, to action there for them to call, it's going to encourage them because they feel like, okay, this kind of makes sense. Or even, most people are not making a buying decision by themselves. They can be like, their spouse is probably looking at it and they could show it to their other spouse. Hey, look, this is, what it would roughly cost because we created that flooring pricing. And
Yeah.
that helps people to kind of,
How
make
many
that
people have
decision.
called you for Lake Clarity and said, hey, I saw the pricing there. It's good, but what about this? They have a question.
So most of the time, customers do not call me, and they're not like, asking me about the price. But I do bring it up. I was like, "Is there something in the website that you might have saw?" Like, yeah, I saw one customer. I'm doing their whole floor now, and they didn't bring up the whole time I was there. When I gave him the quote, he was like, "Okay, yeah, let's move forward." And I was like, "Is there something that you might have saw?" And I always ask customers, "There's something that might appeal to in the website?" And he brought up that the pricing thing, he thought it was actually going to be more, and that's why he called me to go out there. And then
Oh,
because
that's
what he ended up picking out was just something that we had in that we can get in stock, and that was not a cheap floor but a fairly cheap floor. And in his brain, he thought his project was going to be way more expensive because we have to redo the whole floor, and he was worried about moving furniture and all that. And then when I broke it down for him, he was like like right there and then he moved forward with me.
yeah. So, has anybody said, well, I saw that information on your website and I went to look to see what other people charge and I couldn't find that information anywhere.
Yeah, every customer that sees that, they're like the one customer I'm doing a bathroom remodel for, they're like, you're the only person that could get a clear answer on getting it, because everything is like, you call them, they have to come out and see it, or they don't even have nowhere near enough information to give me a price. So
Yeah.
that just delays the process for customers.
There's
Yeah.
a company called Express Flooring out here that's they're exactly like an Empire, where they're pushing it on the Facebook. They're hey, to get a price, and they're using like 3 or 4 different company names too. So they
Mhm.
keep changing the name of the company, but it's all the same company.
Yeah.
And it's to get a price on flooring, go here. And they have you fill out all this information like, what does it tear out? Do you have furniture to move? What kind of product do you want installed? What's your room size? What rooms are you doing? That all these questions. And then they hound you for an in-home estimate. They never give you a number, never give you an idea of what it's going to cost. And it's like, really, you're going to put me through all that, and then you're not going to give me what you said you would give me, which is a price, an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
So
they have something similar like that for bathrooms as well.
yeah, so in where we just dumbed it down. So let's get into that bathroom and a shower, and that was probably one of the biggest success stories I've had, even as a coach or consultant and working with a
Yeah.
client. Of we have these ideas, we push them out there, and it's like, okay, let's see if this works.
Yeah.
So we were talking about it, and I've never done a shower in my life. I've never priced one out. I have no idea how it works. So I'm going over this process with you and learning from you what all goes into the shower, and then what do you charge. Now, what's funny, we didn't break down what your costs were, did we? Like,
Yeah. Well, if I recall properly, I think we kind of went through the whole process, and typically, well, I think what we did was we kind of went down on kind of like what's a standard bathroom we did, because my biggest pushback was, how are we going to give a package deal if there's so many different kinds of bathrooms? And then you're like, well, there has to be one that you typically do a lot of, and then which is a 3x5 bathroom, which everybody has in their house. Um, and so then we kind of went down to, okay, let's say a customer picks out this kind of tile, and then typically how many square feet, and then we kind of broke down what our costs would be, and then that's where we kind of came up with the pricing for it.
well, we really didn't break down the cost. Well, all we did was I wanted to know what you charge.
Yeah,
And
what I charge.
your
Yeah.
price was about 6,000, 6,500, and you were happy
Yeah.
with that. You're making good money,
Yeah.
because you've got your process and everything is really together. You've got your crews, how it works. So you're charging what, 6,000, 6,500, something like that.
Yeah, most of them are around like the 6,000, $6,000.
Yeah. And do you remember the conversation we had? And then you said that you hook them up with your door guy, so they do the door.
Yeah, the glass door.
And they pay that guy separately. And I'm like, well, let's include that, so let's put it in our price and just figure out how to make that work. So I said, why don't we charge like 8,500, do a shower. And then as I'm talking to you more and more and I'm building this out, I'm like, well, how about 9,500? And then I build it up. And it's like, well, if we do 12,500, then we can give a little bit of a discount,
Yeah.
So we did get to, I think, about 12,500.
Yeah.
And you even advertised it for like 10,550
Yeah.
and got
It,
zero
I'm still,
resistance.
yeah. So I need to market it for 12,500, but it's been working well to 10,500. So that's why I've been keeping it for the rest of the summer. But yeah, that package deal has been, pretty much the easiest thing for me to sell, and then the best customer experience as well. Because a lot of stuff some stuff do sound like they work great, and then they do turn out working great. But the best thing about this is the process. That's where I've feel like it's worked the best. Because like, you imagine you're a customer trying to remodel your bathroom, and there's 100 things you got to go out shopping for, different people you got to call. Now imagine you just narrow all that down, and you just walk into our store, and you basically get to design your whole bathroom without you having to think, oh
Yeah.
well, this tile, I like that design, but it's too much, or this other tile is cheaper, but I don't like it too much. And both the husband and wife are back and forth. I give them a pretty large selection of tiles that they could pick from, and it just makes it easier. They're not constantly looking at price. All they're doing is looking at the design, making sure that they like how everything works and looks, and how the shower feels. And I have a few displays in my showroom, so we put the samples up there. So the process is just a lot more streamlined, and it makes the customer feel like I'm finally getting my bathroom done.
You told me a story. One thing I asked you was, what's your closing rate so far?
Yeah.
That was a few months in, and you said it's like 100%. I mean, I've closed every one, because
Yeah.
so they're not calling you for an estimate, because there's the price. They don't need an estimate.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
and
they're
they're getting
they're
a nice
they're
shower with a niche, a bench, or a leg, a niche if they want for shaving.
yeah,
I mean, put a nice package together. That's something that they would want, rather than saying, well, that would be extra, or that would be extra, or yeah, we can do that
exactly.
for you, but I have to charge you extra for that. Or you go ahead and put together something nice.
Yeah, and that gives the customer the opportunity to move forward, because and that's one thing that I used to hate before, because like your customer would always ask me a question like, well, how much is it to put a bench seat? I give them the price. They're like, well, I'm not too sure. Do you mind just setting it aside, and and see what the price difference might be? And then I'm adding all these little additional things. I'm putting them in and putting them out, and it's like we're trying to we're not even thinking about the bathroom. We're just thinking about how are we going to make this bathroom cost to the price that the
Yeah, you're
customer.
trying to sell a price instead of this gorgeous finished
Ex-
product.
exactly. So that's been the biggest thing, and customers have been super happy about it.
Yeah. You said one comment was a customer that did get like 3 or 4 estimates
Yeah.
and had you come out and told you were the most professional person that they had out there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're actually doing her bathroom today.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, two of the other quotes were cheaper. And then one of the quote was actually more money. But she said out of all 3 people, she's like, "You're the only one who came in, gave me the price." And we were from the process of me going in the home, from her picking out her tile, was just in a matter of 3 days, because I went in their house on a Monday. She came on a Wednesday to the showroom, picked out everything, and did the deposit. The one guy who came in, and didn't send her the estimate until the following week.
yeah. Yeah, we found that too. And I was doing a backsplash, and somebody came in and said, okay, I'll work up an estimate. I'm thinking, what the hell do you got to figure out for a backsplash? They're all about the same size. I mean, it's all about the same amount of work, so
Yeah.
the 30 or linear feet or something. So even the 30 or linear feet that we use, I made it up out of whole cloth, because I've never done a backsplash. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
guessing at about 30 feet will cover most backsplashes, not square feet, linear feet. And so you're going to go up a little bit, down a little bit around the oven area. But, you don't need to be perfectly accurate with the square footage size or what the backsplash material costs. And we just threw out a price. Now that though, the showers worked really well. we haven't had that success with backsplashes.
But I think part of it is I haven't really marketed that much.
Yeah.
I've been really focusing just on the bathroom, and because I've been really enjoying it. But I think if I put the same amount of effort in the marketing, I don't see why the backsplash wouldn't perform as well.
Tell
Because
them what are you doing marketing wise for effort? I mean, all you did was put the post on your website and a couple Facebook ads.
yeah, so I have the post on my website, obviously, and then one of the things that works really well, and and I know you talked briefly about it, but the Facebook marketing, what I did was I just boosted the post, and that got good traction as well. And just having it on my website and customers, doing your typical Google ads, and people who like it because on the header you see the price and you see what it costs the bathroom. So people click on it and they like it. And the same thing on
About
Facebook.
the time frame, that was a big thing that we put into it. That how long it takes. Your in your process when we first talked was only like 5 days.
Yeah, so it only takes 5 days, and I did what you said was to kind of send out in a few like group chats locally, kind of talking as like a consumer, as if,
Yeah.
hey, I have this company coming out, and they say that they can get the bathroom done in 5 days. What do you guys think? And I tested it with a few different other days, and I mark it at 7 days now, because some customers they see like the 5 days, and I think they feel like that's too quick. So I just have it at 7 days, and most customers are okay with it, and
Yeah.
the five
I
and
think
getting
I'm
it done.
thinking that I would go with the 5 days because you truly get it done in 5 days. It's
I
because you
do,
have a
but
good process. I don't think
yeah,
anybody's going to overthink that and say, "Oh, you can't get it done in 7 days." That's just coming from contractors. So, and that's a big thing. It's like let's not overthink what the consumer, when they walk in. We talk about that with pricing the showroom. Everybody thinks, oh, the consumer's going to walk in and they're going to believe this and they're going to believe that. It's like, you know what? They're consumers mostly are thinking about themselves and how it's going to look and what the results are going to be. I think they'd be thrilled to have it done in 5 days. I think that's important. That,
yeah,
you're in their house. You're turning their bathroom upside down. I would rather have this done in 5 days. Time sells, and the quicker you can do it, then the more you'll sell it.
yeah. And then the other thing I was thinking about adding to it was, as far as how soon you should get it started. Maybe in the marketing ad, get started in as little as a week. Get your bathroom started. Will you think that would have effect in the
No,
marketing?
not really. But certainly coming up to the holidays, order now so we can get it done before Christmas. That kind of marketing works. Get it done now
Okay.
before your family comes over.
Yeah.
So get your project done now. So that kind of marketing is going to work for holidays. But just the simplicity of what you have now, I think, is working really well. And what was funny about this test, because what I said is, let's test it. We were testing the price. And you got no objections to the price. You only got objections to how fast you can get it done.
Yeah, that's the
Because we
funny
raised
part.
this price from 6,000 to 10,000.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did a test on Facebook as well as the price. And the price, like, more people were concerned about the days getting done than the price.
Yeah.
Because there was always somebody messaging there, oh, I could do it cheaper, but that was some like handyman trying to message. But most people weren't concerned, and that's what kind of lit up a light bulb in my head. I was like, hey, I'm like, this thing's actually going to work because no one's even concerned about the price. I
Right.
thought people would be less concerned about the days.
Now I've done this with probably about 5 other companies, and our starting price is $14,997 for the same thing. It's the same flyer. And one client I have in Wisconsin, Minnesota, his first 3 clients, again, 100% closing rate. He's like, this works great.
Yeah.
He's backing off of it because he doesn't want to do so many showers. he would rather just knock out flooring. But all of his showers ballooned up to $19,000, $20,000. So he never even sold it at that price, but he marketed that price, It got people in the door, got people interested. Their showers were bigger, or they wanted upgraded tiles or upgraded plumbing, and all the projects ended up being closer to $20,000.
Yeah, only a handful of my jobs have cost a little bit more, because they are upgrading to more fancier fixtures, and what's nice about it is, like for one example, this one customer I'm doing work for, she wanted a little bit more expensive a tile, but her bathroom only had 100 square feet, and the tile that she wanted was going to be like $4 a square foot more. So it was only, when I told her, hey, it's going to be $400 more, she's like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
She wasn't too concerned about it.
Nobody's going to turn it down. There's
Exactly.
nobody's say, oh, let me think about it. Let me get another estimate. They're not
Yeah.
going to do that. They already decided to go with it. Everybody will pay a few $100 more or
Yeah.
$1,000 more to get it done and
Yeah. Especially if
done the
it's
way they
something.
want.
Exactly. They're picking out something that they like. And, if they truly like something, or it's, they don't mind paying extra for it.
So did you get away from like overthinking every detail, every aspect, every cost?
Yeah. So it definitely helped me with the estimate, because before I would feel like, oh man, I need, I'm going, my typical process was, and most people can relate to this, was going out there, measuring it, going home. You're sitting there late at night, typing up the estimate, trying to get pricing for every little thing. But
Yeah.
now, how I have it all in the bundle deal, the things I got to work out, or if a customer wants something more expensive.
So before, your prices were closer to $6,000, but your
Yeah.
process was to email the quote. What was your closing rate before?
It's so, like, for example, if I was, if I had 10 customers, probably, 6 or 5 of them. So a good 50%, I would say. A
About
50% closing
50%.
rate. Yeah.
Yeah. And even 50% is not a bad closing rate,
Yeah.
in our industry. And when I asked you what your closing rate was with showers, you told me it was like 100%. And I
Yeah.
wasn't sure because I don't, 100% is kind of rare. You don't get that very
No,
often.
well,
Usually
and
people aren't
that's,
tracking when they say 100%. So
and my closing rate for pretty much, even for flooring as well, has gone up tremendously. I'm like at a 60, like around a 60% right now, 60 to 70%
that's
for
great.
all flooring. And I'm not sure if the having some of the pricing of the flooring on the website has made an impact on it. I'm sure it has,
Well,
but
mainly that you on the flooring, you're given the price in the home as well, right?
exactly.
So you're not working it up. I think that's the biggest impact. So even if a customer doesn't go with you, because you try to close in the home, you give them an opportunity to buy. But even though they don't go with you, then it still increases your odds of them going with you. The fact that
Yeah.
you gave them the price in the home, because they're getting other estimates and your competitors aren't giving the price right away.
Yeah. Yeah, because before, when I would walk out of the house, I would email the quote, and I'm just, waiting to see if they say yes or no. But now, most of the time, I kind of know already when the customer wants to move forward, because I'm giving the price up front. They're already kind of making that decision right there and then. And then what I started implementing was you telling them, I'm not the kind of salesperson that's very pushy. And then you gave me that really good idea, was to, instead of saying, trying to push them,
I want to tee this up.
tell them that,
This is the most brilliant close you guys can use. Anybody, if you implement this, I guarantee your closing rate will go up. It is the absolute most brilliant close that you can use. Go ahead.
so what I do now is, I actually pull up my calendar, and then I show them the next available date I have, and then I tell them, like, would you like to move forward and get that date? And then I tell them, for $1,000 down, I can put you on the calendar. And then most people are going to say yes if they're
I
going
mean,
to,
that's
they
not
want to get
bullshit.
done.
That's real. You can
Yeah.
see that he's got these days available. You could tell it's like, if I want to get this done, I better sign up now so I can get in his calendar. And you can also see that this guy's busy. He's got a lot of work. So,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, I don't need your business. If you want to get on the calendar, here it is. So
Yeah. And
I
I
love
and I
it.
per and I changed, so all my projects, I switched them to purple so it stands out in the calendar more. So like when they see my calendar, they could see, okay, if I want to get this week right here, they could pick that date, and then they see all the jobs I have going on, and they're
Yeah.
like, they're they're
Does
more.
anybody go, oh man, you're busy. Can I get it in any sooner? Is there any way I can get it done quicker?
Yeah. So that's a huge thing, and then and that makes me more comfortable when I sell in the customer's house, because I hate the being the salesy kind of guy, and doing that has been a huge game changer, because you're giving the customer the opportunity to move forward with you,
Yeah.
instead of just walking out of their house.
Yeah. Well, and I teach you guys how to close, but there's nothing that I've ever taught anybody that's like pushy.
No, nothing at all, and that's what I like working with you, because I hate anything that's pushy.
Yeah. So, but it's giving them an opportunity to buy, and a lot of people don't want to give the price in the home. They say, well, I don't want to be that pushy salesperson. No, that's not it. The reason you don't give a price in the home is because you don't know what it is. You haven't
Yeah.
developed an easy system for giving prices. So, also from a time saving standpoint, I've heard a lot of people complain to me that they don't have time, and they're looking for time management strategies. I'm like, you don't need time management. You just need to give the price in the home. So you don't go home, spend a half an hour working up an hour working up a quote, and then having to sell an email and pursue that customer. You're already
Yeah.
there. You might as well.
Well,
Boys.
and the biggest thing too is you got to remember, some of these projects that I'm doing, they're not low ticket jobs. So imagine you're the customer, you're sitting at home and you get a random email, and all you see is invoice for, $15,000. What are they thinking? They're probably just thinking, thinking about the number. They're not looking at all the stuff you're offering. They're not, so they're pricing you right there. If you're in front of the customer and you tell them with everything, kind of break down everything you're going to do, 15, and your project's going to be $15,000, you're giving the customer the opportunity to ask questions. Because I have some, most people don't know nothing about flooring, so they're going to be like, if they find it expensive, they're going to ask you like, why is it so expensive? And you can kind of break down and kind of educate them a little bit. But yeah, by far, giving the estimate in the customer's house, I think if any flooring dealer does that, they're going to increase their sales instantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about pricing in the showroom. So when I went out there, you only had half of your tile priced.
Yeah, well, I have everything priced now.
But even at that time, people ended up gravitating towards this stuff. I think it's a great experiment. Just if you want to do a sociological experiment, and I've told people this, it's like, don't price the whole showroom. Just get some, do a display or two. Get some going. But what you'll see is you'll start increasing the sales for that display.
Yeah, it's that was the because it's funny, because you say, hey, price the showroom. Every vendor that walked into my showroom that was setting up displays were like seeing that I was putting pricing in. They're like, you're the only store that's doing that. Like, how do you keep up with it? How do you like asking all these questions? And I'm like, it's really not that hard, because since I've had the showroom open, only one company has changed their prices, and it's only a handful of tags that I switched out. But like you said, when I had the showroom going, I only had half of the stuff with the price on it. Every customer would just walk to the stuff that had the price on it. It's like half of my other showroom didn't even exist, because they didn't even want to ask. They every tile that was sold was ones that had the pricing on it.
So what if a customer calls you up and asks you, hey, what would it cost to do? Can I get an idea? I want to redo my kitchen. What would it cost? Does anybody still call you, ask those questions?
So yeah, so what I normally do is I do your famous phrase of tell me a little bit more about your project. So if they're calling about what it would cost to redo their floors, obviously I'll ask them first to kind of tell me a little bit more about your project, just so I can get a little bit more information, and then I kind of just give them the starting price for everything. So I'll tell them, well, if you're looking at having a tile installation in your home, it starts at $5.75 a square foot, and that includes installation, thin set, and grout. And I just give the pricing over the phone, because I'm not gonna tell the customer, no, I need to come out there. I have them explain a little bit more about their project, ask them a few questions about it, and then give them the answer.
So what was your belief before customers would call and ask you that question? What did you think about that customer?
In my brain, I was like, oh, here's another price shopper.
Here's another price shopper. So I think what's funny about that is people that don't price their showroom. Your opinion about the customer is that they're a price shopper if they call you and ask you about a price. But when they're in your showroom, how uncomfortable is it for them to ask you what the price is? That's a normal question.
Mhm.
By not having it on the display, you're forcing them to ask you, what's that cost? What's that cost? And so your impression, and they know this, your impression of them is, well, they only care about price.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're asking me about the prices, then um, I do care about the price because I have to remember everything. I'm more focused on the price when you don't price your display because I have to remember what you said versus if you have it there, then I can shop for what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then I could justify the higher costs in my head. I don't need a
Exactly.
salesperson to tell me why this is more expensive. I could just
Yeah.
start justifying it for myself.
Exactly. And then the big thing of tile, and it gets even more confusing, is because certain tiles come in different sizes.
Yeah.
So now you got to remember the size, the price for the size, and like you said, the complete the complete shopping experience of the product just turns to the whatever the number is.
Do you think people buy more expensive products from you because everything's clearly priced and they can see it? Do you think does it does it encourage them to go less expensive or more expensive? What's your opinion?
My opinion is I think it kind of not because there's certain customers that do want nice stuff, so they buy more expensive stuff, and there are certain customers who want cheaper stuff because they're trying to sell a house. But what I've noticed is when because you're there with the customer, seeing how they navigate around.
Yeah.
They're first thinking about the design, and then they're thinking about the price, and then then when they start looking at the design and the price, they typically go with whatever they like. So the price doesn't have a huge effect on their buying decision because, and I think it has to do with seeing the price there because they're not only thinking about it. They're because they get to look at the product, see it, and then look at another product. So I really think that the price doesn't really have a huge effect on it, and they're typically going to lean towards what they like more. And I've seen it with lots of customers with the showroom now. You know,
Yeah.
they pick a product that's even $5 a square foot more just because they looked at both and they really like that one that's $5 square foot more, and they just move forward with it because they like it a lot more.
Where I never sold tiles. So but where I really saw evidence of them going more expensive was with carpet. Because when you had carpet that was a clear display that had a 35, 45, 55 ounce, they
Yeah,
gravitate towards, everybody says, well, people go to the middle, best value. No, they go to the most often they went to the 55 ounce. And
yeah,
sometimes they'd want to go with a 45 ounce and we do the 55 as a free upgrade
yeah,
because our margins were set at 55%. So we can do
yeah.
a free upgrade to a 55 ounce and give them good value.
Yeah, yeah, and then well, maybe with the carpet it might be a little bit different because tile is really just on the color, the design of the product.
Yeah.
Because most porcelain tiles, the quality of them, in our showroom, they're pretty much all the same quality. A handful are better than the other, but really, like when you see the customer walking around, it's nice to see them, picking something that they like for their house, instead of just looking at the price and asking for the price every single time.
I see every store that I know that is a value that offers great low prices. They struggle like crazy. I mean, their impression is that's what the market wants. That's what people want. They want to save money. They want low prices and they struggle. And you can even go to a company like Floor and Decor and say, Floor and Decor has great low prices, but are they really set up marketing, displaying that way? I mean,
Mhm.
Floor and Decor is a beautiful store. And, I've often said if they knew what they were doing, they would kill us all.
No,
But
for sure.
but their service and their follow-up and everything just it's horrible. So in order to do business with Floor and Decor, you have to do some work. And that's the other thing I've noticed, the companies that don't provide installation, and I work with some of them, they force their customers to do the work. Same thing when we're putting together a shower package, we eliminate the door. It's part of the process. So
Mhm.
we're not making the customer do some work.
Yeah.
So to get
And
that experience.
and that's what, falling back to that shower part, like that's what where I see the experience is by far helping the customer a lot because, well, one of the big things was you said why don't we just add it in was the showering glass enclosure. Before I would do it and I'd be like, hey, here's the number of the glass store guy, and the customer's like, well, when do I call him? Do I call him when you're just demoing or as soon as you're done? And it's just like, and I'm just like in the middle person trying to juggle them in, and then obviously that's not a pleasant experience for the customer because nobody even wants to call and schedule and all that.
Right.
So now I make it even more streamlined. I know when I start a job, I already call the glass door guy, so he knows on the fourth day of install, he comes out, and the customer already knows because we're already in the house, so they don't have to make a dedicated time for the customer, for the glass door to come in. So it just those are little things that make a big difference.
What about the plumbing fixtures? How did you handle that?
Same thing. Before I would I'll find a plumbing fixture that you like, and we'll pick it up and we'll install it for you. So now what I do is so in the showroom I have some catalogs. I have some displays that are coming in now for customers to pick out. And then obviously, if they want to pick something more tailored to their needs, they always have that option to select online. But typically, with the options I have, they're going to pick one of those. So they pick it, and then
Yeah.
we handle that.
Yeah. What if, have you ever had a customer say, well, what if I supply the fixtures myself?
Never.
Oh, okay. Because I'm saying you
Yeah.
be like, okay, I can put those fixtures in, but you're not
Yeah.
changing the price.
No. So whenever a customer, I never had a customer, say, well, what if I supply it myself? They'll typically say, hey, I saw this one. Like, for example, one customer liked a certain brand and liked a certain design because he had it in his previous home. He just sent me the link and I ordered that same exact model and the same one. You know,
Yeah.
I handled the whole, ordering and purchasing of it.
So did you have to charge him more or
I did because it was more expensive for that one.
any objection to
Oh no,
nothing? Right.
no,
So people getting what they want. So
yeah,
and your father again still does showers and you've told me a few times he just can't believe what you're charging.
yeah. When he, it was funny because, well, you saw the roll up banner that I had for the showroom, and I take to the home shows and stuff.
Yeah.
When he saw that, because that's like he's not so much on the computer or anything with social media. So when he saw me putting up the banner, he was like, "What is that? How much you're charging for a bathroom?" And it gives me a laugh every single time he sees that because he was just like in shock.
Yeah. Well, and it is an installer's mentality, and because
Yeah,
they're working, if you're working for the a retailer, and now you're doing now you are the retailer, your price almost goes up like 4 times.
yeah, it does go up quite a bit, and that's and that, I mean, I fall into the same thing. Being just installer, your pricing for everything changes. I mean, you're just pricing stuff just so you can make a buck but you're not pricing stuff to create a business.
Yeah. So, how has it been for you hiring and managing installers? Do you have your own crews and
So, I mean, as far as installers go, we've been in the industry for a while, so a lot of the guys have been working for us for years. And normally my installation guys, we kind of have a procedure for that. So we have our foremans that have been with us for years, and then I tend to hire guys who don't have that have a little bit experience that are kind of apprentices in the industry, and then I kind of teach them how we operate because I've been every time I hire someone who's experienced and I kind of put them out there, they do things very differently or the way that they, my biggest thing is, leaving stuff clean in a customer's house and everybody's idea of cleanliness is completely different. So a lot of my guys have been guys that worked with us, for years. And then a lot of the, new guys, we train them.
so was going to ask you, you said the number one, we're going to kind of wrap things up here, but um, the advice you would give a company, number one was pricing.
Yeah.
It was just making it simple, pricing in the home, giving
Pricing everything that you could possibly can. You're pricing your samples, pricing your,
Are you
the
using a software?
yeah. So I'm using Floors app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are you using that in the home or are you using paper invoices?
No, I'm using paper invoices. I have a printed, typical your standard invoice template. I use that, and then I have also a printed, kind of like a purchase order of where I, put all the options and everything on there.
Now, I'm a fan of Floors app. I recommend it for everybody, but I still believe in paper invoices in the home. And
Yeah.
what would you recommend? What's the difference? Why would you go with paper?
I have a tablet, and I used to go out to the customer's house and measure and use all the technology stuff, the laser, and it'll integrate in it. But there's I don't know, the handwriting is, I don't know, I feel like the customer's experience with it is always more pleasant, because as you're communicating and talking, it's kind of like, I feel like the customer feels like I'm listening to them, because as they mention things like, hey, I want to add a niche. As they're talking, I'm writing these notes down, and in my sense, I feel like the customer feels like I'm listening to what they're doing. And then the biggest thing is when you're going to close is, you get to kind of jot down everything you talked about, and then you can, when I typically close, I'm, writing it down and explaining what it includes, and then I'm handwriting the price down right there and showing them. And I'm not super tech savvy, but I feel like the human interaction with the tablet is not as easy as just you writing down as what you want.
I think your hand gestures are making the camera zoom in and out.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's a technology. We don't even know how.
Yeah, I'm not good with it. That's the
I don't know if
problem.
you've ever seen like the thumbs up, so it'll throw a thumbs up in there if you sometimes,
Oh,
depending on the settings. So,
not for
oh,
the
maybe we
trying.
do. So,
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I like the paper, because you're writing everything down as you're speaking with the customer, and it creates a nice experience for the customer to see everything you just talked about, and you're writing the price right
there's a
there
big
for them.
difference too when you don't close a sale if you keep it there. Like they have the invoice.
Oh yeah, and that in my
I'm going to email a quote.
exactly, and that's the nice thing too, is like I can, leave them the invoice paper, and if there's a certain, any note or something I need to write there for them, or I could just write it right there for them,
Yeah.
instead of me emailing it to them. And a lot of my customers, some of that not all of them are tech savvy, so, and people like to see that piece of paper in front of them, and it sits there on their desk, and that probably keeps them thinking about their project, getting it done as well.
Sure. How are you doing getting reviews?
So the reviews, it's been pretty good. What I normally do is when I wrap up the project, because I always do a final walkthrough. I talk to them and I ask them. Well, before I would ask them just to leave a review, or I would just text them a link. But now I personally ask them to leave a review for my installers. And then what I normally do is, give them a compensation for if they get a good review. I give them a compensation, and it's nice too, because then the customers go into detail a little bit more,
Yeah.
instead of just writing Brevard Tile was great, or they can kind of write something a little bit more into detail.
Right. Makes a review longer and better, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Love that strategy. So, all right, great. Well, this has been very helpful. So it's Brevard Tile out in Florida. If you want to hit Adrian up, I'm sure he'd love to talk to you, but just
Definitely.
a fantastic job. So what's your main goal? What's your vision for your company in the next 2, 3, 5 years?
Well, definitely 5 years. Well, my biggest goal right now is to continue selling the shower package. And honestly, I would like to kind of have a showroom where it's the complete shower remodeling process. Where most customers are going to go in there and be able to kind of have a really a nice process where they're doing the vanity, they're doing everything, because the shower package deal is only for the inside shower area. So my early goal is to kind of start pushing more complete shower remodels, and then obviously in the future.
Have you sold a resort style walk-in shower yet?
No, I mean, I haven't even marketed it yet. But
up.
I am gathering all the stuff inside the showroom for it, though. So I've ordered quite a different vanity samples. I've ordered some really nice plumbing fixtures. I already have the heated floors and heated shower seat there. So that's one of my early goals right now. And then for next year, I would definitely like to, kind of create a really nice streamlined shower remodeling showroom, because I really enjoy doing that.
You might change the name or DBA, but just add on to it. You don't have to change anything, but just Brevard Tile and Shower.
Brevard Tile and Shower. That, I mean, I've considered it. It's just the way that the logo looks. I really like the way the simplicity.
Oh, you don't have to do it there, but you do it on the just on the website and like on the Facebook. So the places you're showing up digitally, you might add Brevard Tile and Shower.
Yeah, and then you never know. Maybe have an online store where people could just buy their put the deposit down, and all they have to do is walk into.
Don't go there. It's not going to work.
I knew you wouldn't like that idea. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, that online dream is, online stores. They're not flooring companies. They're online companies. So, yeah, you don't want to manage that.
No, definitely not. No, but definitely, improve the showroom. Right now we have it, fairly nice, but there's a lot of stuff I would like to improve as far as the design goes.
Do you have a top line revenue goal?
Top line revenue, definitely. I want to hit the 2 million mark.
2 million?
Yeah.
How far are you from that?
Right now, this year we're just under a million. But because we most of the year was setting up the showroom and getting it all set up. So there was a lot of months there that we weren't doing a lot of business. But next year, definitely, I don't see why we can't hit that.
Yeah, no, you should crush it next year. I think the economy is going to get much better. Hopefully, election goes right.
So, yeah, we'll see about that. But I think if we create a good experience for customers, there's no reason why.
Yeah, you hit that marketing good, and you'll get there easily. So, all right, good. Thanks for coming on. This is a great show. So I think people will get a lot out of it. So it's just a fantastic business. I love your showroom. So it was great visiting you. Hopefully we'll get to Florida and visit you again.
Yeah, definitely. And I highly, if anybody's thinking about working with Jerry, call him, do the free one-on-one call, because by far that one-on-one call, you're going to get a lot out of it. And, doing it's 6 months, right?
6-month program,
highly recommend it. I couldn't recommend it anymore.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're going to do a behind the scenes live video on Friday. So talking about that one-on-one call. So that should be interesting.
All right.
All right. Good talking, Adrian.
Thanks. All right. You got it. Bye.
Thanks for joining the Flooring Business Podcast. Now, if you'd like to have a one-on-one discovery call and learn how you can increase your profit and sales by over 30%, go to jerrylevinson.com and let's discuss where you're at and where you want to go. Don't forget to tune in next week where we have another great podcast with another flooring pro.